This has been a tough month for Milan fans. Finally, after losing Paolo Maldini and Sandro Tonali, there's some good news. And that is the signing of Ruben Loftus-Cheek from Chelsea to Milan. And is there a possibility that Milan brings Christian Pulisic to the San Siro? In order to answer these questions, I needed a little bit of help today, so I brought in a Chelsea content creator, Ankit with Almighty Blues FC. And Ankit doesn't just make content about Chelsea, he had the unique opportunity to speak with the club, including players like Champions League winner Kai Havertz and defender Trevor Chalobah. After the chat, we'll assess Arda Guler's dad's ridiculous demands and see if Luka Romero is going to be Milan's next signing. I'm sure you've heard, since you're a part Milan fan, Sandro Tonali sold, pretty much is going to get sold to Newcastle, right? We have a hole in our midfield now. Ismail Benacer is injured out till the end of the year, so we don't really have a lot of midfielders. Can you say that Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a good replacement for Tonali, or is he a different profile of a player? Because Tonali is a more box-to-box midfielder, defense and attack help. Is RLC, it's called, is he the same profile?
See, the way RLC was, say, under Sari, right? That was a different RLC altogether. And that was what actually RLC's profile was. Like, we almost called him like he'll be the next Michael Ballack. He'll be potential Paul Pogba. Those are the names that we used to call RLC. He had that potential, and that's what England saw in him as well. But after injury, his game has changed. So he's no longer like that box-to-box player that we anticipated him to be. He's someone who could glide with the ball for sure. He is someone like we were just discussing, my friend, that the fact that Chelsea are losing both Kovacic and RLC in one window is not great for Chelsea's perspective, because these are two similar players, but at the same time RLC brings more physicality to the game. So I would not say it's very similar to what Tonali plays, and of course Tonali is a huge loss for Milan. I think what Tonali brings to the table is not only the box-to-box, the football that he brings, but also the main things about Tonali is about the passing range, the fact that he can actually become a playmaker, plus being a box-to-box, which is a very rare feature in midfielders in Europe. And that's something that I would say that RLC probably needs to develop in his game. He has it in him. He does not probably use it enough, or is not confident enough to do that. Maybe Milan, again, being a different league, maybe Pioli, gets him to do that, maybe a different role. But I see right now him kind of initially being a player who would replace Benacer to some extent, because if you remember, towards the latter stage of the Champions League, Benacer actually played a little bit up front. He was not like so, withdrawn. Someone who's basically, just playing ahead of the defense, because if you remember, Krunic was kind of, playing much deeper along with Tonali, and Benacer was actually playing a little bit ahead. And that is what Ruben Loftus-Cheek is best suited at for me, because defensively, he's not having the legs that one would anticipate generally for that kind of position, right? For say a CDM role, or even a proper number 6. He's more of a number 8 who could do a number 6. So he is physical, but probably physical a little bit ahead.
At this point in time, the reported number is around 16 to 20 million is what we're hearing. So it's around 16 million for the deal with 4 million in add-ons. My question to you is, do you think that this is a fair price? Did Milan overpay? Or did the player get away for cheap from you?
For me, if you are actually saying that if he got an offer from England, pretty sure he would have got a better value than this, even, to be very honest, because he's been someone who's, you all remember, right? I know it's been a long time, 2018, then he had that injury, he played in the World Cup, and he's an England international per se, but obviously you have the English quota, so a team which is playing Champions League football, and if you're in England, it helps if you basically have Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but it's all about him just getting a new, as in life per se, what Tomori got, for instance, while at Chelsea, and when he left for Milan. It's almost like Chelsea are paying respect. Okay, fine, the offer we're going to get, we're going to let you go, because we have many players. At the same time, you need to take your career to the next level, which is probably, let's be real, it's probably stagnant at this point in time. So I think Milan are probably getting for a very fair price. Yes, abroad, maybe any other club would have also paid around the same. So I don't think it's overpaying a bit.
So you did hint on his injury issues. So what have his injury issues been like? So last season, did he play a lot, or was he injured a lot last season as well?
So he has been fine of late. It's just that because of the major injury he had, obviously the ACL that he had, right? After that, it's just that the way that he plays his football has changed. So earlier he was like a proper box-to-box, and now he is not as, say, athletic on the field, and that's the only thing. Obviously you have somewhere in the back of your mind as well, but I think his injury record of late is not as bad as what it used to be. But yes, he is injured once in a while. He does have his shares of the knees as well as the hamstrings. But that's for any person who kind of dribbles, who kind of glides with the ball, and for his body build, you can imagine he will definitely have that, right? But I think again, considering what Serie A is, considering how the way Milan play, I believe he should be fine. I don't think it should be a major concern, the injury part of it. But I generally believe that still Milan need at least another midfielder next to him who could do more of a passing as well as better defensively than a Loftus-Cheek.
The other player that we've been linked with is, from the looks of it, is Christian Pulisic. Do you think, seeing the revolving door of outgoing players for yourself, do you think there's a possibility that at his age, with his experience, he leaves Chelsea this summer?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Christian Pulisic, unlike Loftus-Cheek, because Loftus-Cheek is someone who kind of is very adaptable, versatile. That's something that we didn't discuss enough, because he's even played right wing back at times and asked. So it's not like his favorite position, but he can do that as well. Pulisic, on the other hand, has done that. But the issue with Pulisic in Chelsea was that he's probably become more of that than what he originally was, and that's what he's known for in the US team. So for me, Pulisic just needs certainly a new place where he could just go and make the place his own, because he's someone who, of course, everyone likes to do that, every player almost, but he's someone who really wants to be the center of the attraction, and so he wants to become the centerpiece and then build around him. And I think in a very strange way, Milan might suit him very well, because yes, he likes to play off the left hand side, and that's Rafaelio, obviously the favorite position of Rafaelio, and he won't be replaced, right, when fit. But I think Pulisic could do the number 10 role. He does that for the US national team as well. I think he could play the number 10 role, somewhat what Brahim Diaz played at times. And of course, Brahim Diaz not being there, I think that could be a direct replacement that I see. He's a better dribbler. He's more quicker. He's someone who I think he has a better eye for a goal, right, compared to basically what say Brahim Diaz has on terms of numbers. But there's still a lot of improvement needed. So that's where the competition comes in. And I think the rumored names are obviously the Kamadas of the world, etc. So I think if there's industry around him, I think you can get the best out of Christian Pulisic in terms of the creativity and what he does. And he actually, there are times when he's used to scare opposition players. It's been a long while though, but I think he can certainly see himself going to Milan and leaving Chelsea, but again for the right price, right?
So you did mention that he was he plays left wing, central attacking midfield. Milan's main hole probably is the right wing. Do you think there's any chance of him fitting in there?
Unfortunately not, and that has been the problem at Chelsea. Like, Tuchel was someone who actually loved a Christian Pulisic while he was at Dortmund, and he introduced him as the right winger. And for whatever reason, Tuchel came to Chelsea and he started thinking that he still is the same player what he used to be at Dortmund, which he wasn't. So Pulisic, more recent years, I think he's more comfortable playing off the left-hand side or playing in the hole behind the striker compared to a right side, right? Again, he's done well on the right side as well, but he's very vocal on the fact that he's not very comfortable, or it's not his preferred position. So I don't think that could be long term. So you're going to face the same problems what he faced at Chelsea. Eventually, he's not going to be happy. You're not going to get the kind of performances that you probably expect from him. And I don't think he's the ideal right winger that you're looking for. And that's something that I exactly know, that I'm looking at Milan definitely going for another right winger and as well as another midfielder along with Loftus-Cheek and Pulisic. Those four players, I don't think Milan can afford. So that's where basically the catch comes. So the price point of view, if you're looking at maybe Pulisic at, I think 15 million is what Milan are looking at. Chelsea are probably asking for around 25 million. To be honest, Pulisic sells a lot of jerseys. Of course, being a US national team captain, he sells a lot of jerseys. So there's a lot of advantages getting Pulisic apart from the footballing reasons. But I think it's more about Chelsea almost admitting that we have to sell Pulisic, and Pulisic needs a new space, and that's where we are expecting. So we are okay with that, but his market value is actually a little higher than that.
You've got us Olivier Giroud, Fikayo Tomori. They brought us a title, so let's hope that Ruben Loftus-Cheek and possibly Christian Pulisic can do something similar, because Milan right now, more than ever, after the kind of month that we've had, we need something good to happen this season for sure. Switching it up with some of the other profiles that Milan has been linked with, and Arda Guler is a player we've been targeting for a few weeks now. Guys, initially I'd put this off as a rumor. Why? Because his release clause was set at 17.5 million. There was reports that the family is trying to renegotiate with Fenerbahce to sign a new contract where he has a higher release clause so the club can get more money. But things changed. Looked like they were going to accept that release clause, so I switched this from rumor to real. But now the latest reports suggest that Arda Guler's dad, in order to get this deal done, is asking for a commission payment of around 15 to 20 million euros. That has to be one of the most ridiculous demands I've ever seen made by an agent of a player. For an 18-year-old unproven talent to demand that type of a commission, jeopardizing the possibility of where this player goes in the future. For me at this point in time, I'm gonna downgrade this from real to unlikely. I think it's still not a rumor, it's definitely a real negotiation, but at this point in time for Arda Guler to play for Milan, I think that's highly unlikely with that commission requirement. Which brings us to another attacking midfield profile that we've been linked with, and that is Luka Romero of Lazio. This deal seems like it has a higher possibility of taking place. The player's a free agent after this season. You can see that his salary is not very high at Lazio. He's still a young player, so he's not gonna demand a lot of money. He has that Serie A experience. He's in line with the Redbird philosophy of signing young players, unproven talent, bringing them in, increasing their asset, possibly sell them or succeed at the club. I think this sort of a profile fits perfectly in Milan's transfer mold, and the reports also seem pretty reliable, so I'm gonna call this real. I think this can actually happen. There you have it, guys. These are the profiles we're hoping to look at today. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is coming to Milan, possibly of Christian Pulisic. You guys let me know in the comment section which ones you guys agree with. Which players do you want me to profile in the next video to see what is a rumor and what is real? And once again, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you can watch these videos as soon as I upload them. And as always, Forza Milan, grazie mille e ciao tutti.